Hey Team Stunning Stars, this is Nikki Seavey calling, your independent upline crystal director with Damsel in Defense. I'm super excited about today's meeting because we've got some really great things to talk about. A quick agenda I'm going to go over first is I want to go over some team updates and some corporate updates from the home office. Then I'm going to talk about the 7-layer cake. After the 7-layer cake, I want to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about focus. I think that that's really important, especially this time of year as we're just getting over the hump of the holidays and really trying to gear back up into the spring and summer selling season. And then, of course, I want to go ahead and end today's meeting with an inspirational quote. So before I get started with that, I want to go ahead and go over our team numbers for the month so far. So at the end of January, we went ahead and set a goal for the month of February of $13,000 in sales. As it stands right now, our team as a whole is at $3,775. So we've got quite a ways to go, but I don't want you guys to get upset and lose focus on that because we still have 2 weeks left in the month. So there's plenty of time to make that up. I know you guys have a lot of events and parties coming up. So I think that helping you with the 7-layer hostess cake that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes is really going to help you guys to catch the vision of how to make a really great party. Because I want you guys to be able to come and tell me, hey, I just had an awesome show. There were 8 people there. It was $400 in sales. The hostess has a couple more outside orders. And then before you know it, you're consistently having $500, $600, $700, $800 shows. That's what this business is all about. We want to work smarter and not harder. So we've recruited 4 people into the business so far this month. Congratulations and welcome to them. We have a goal of 10. So again, we have a little ways to go. Definitely doable. I know there's quite a few of you that have some potential recruits that you've been talking to. Feel free to go ahead and share this video with them. I know it's not an opportunity meeting, but it kind of gives them an idea of what our team is about and some of the trainings that we like to do as a team. So make sure to go ahead and share this with them. So for some updates from the home office, the Get a Grip, the brand new stun gun that is available February 1st, is now shipping to those people who have signed on to the business after January 1st. It will be available for anybody that continues to sign on to the business through the month of February and the middle of March. And it's also shipping to people who have ordered that in their enhancement kit. So people that decided to take advantage of purchasing the enhancement kit will get the Get a Grip, and it should be coming to you at some point this week. I just received my shipping notice yesterday, in fact. So what does this mean? This means that those people who have previously ordered the Get a Grip stun gun will be getting theirs. However, it is not available for purchase to customers until mid-March. So I know that there's been a little turmoil about this. I've heard from some other directors on their teams that they've had a little bit of issue. People are kind of upset about it. I highly suggest that you do not take pre-orders for the Get a Grip stun gun. Because if that stun gun isn't available until mid-March, we're at mid-February. So right there is an entire month that person is going to have to wait for their order, not including shipping time on top of that. So I do not recommend taking a pre-order for the Get a Grip stun gun. Instead, what I would do is create some sort of a list where if you have people that are interested in that stun gun, then they want that. As soon as it comes in stock, you can go ahead and call them. And then they can go ahead and place their order at that time. And then they're not waiting around wondering why you've charged their card back on February 16th and they still haven't gotten their stun gun. So do not even, in my opinion, do not even offer that stun gun until it is officially in warehouse, until home office has told us. If something happens, you know, you're on your own with that one. If you want to decide to take an order and then you have a guest or a customer that is upset about that because they can't get it right now, or a hostess that it doesn't count towards our hostess credits this month because it's not in stock and you can't order it, you decide to do that, then you're on your own to try to make up the difference that that hostess isn't upset about that. The next thing I want to talk about is Damsel University. So if for those of you that consistently listen to the Tuesday training calls, which I highly recommend you do, Jonna Johnson, our VP of Field Development, has been talking a lot about the Tuesday training call. So not the Tuesday training call. She's been talking a lot about Damsel University. And Damsel University is a program that starts April 1st. It is available to everybody who has reached level protege. So people who have sold at least $1,000 cumulative in their business are eligible to apply to be accepted into the Damsel University. For those of you that were around this time last year, we had a program called Special Forces that Jonna had done. It was a 13-week program. I highly recommend you get your butt to Protege, so sell your $1,000. First of all, it's going to help you with your stunning start. If you're a brand new person, within 3 months, you're going to get your stunning start, so you're going to be eligible to get some prizes from the home office. And then you can take part in the Damsel University. And the Damsel University is an accountability program that will help you build your business. It is free training, okay? People pay money to get training like this. So be sure to take advantage of it. I will be doing it. There's something that everybody can learn from doing this Damsel University program. I'd like to get as many people from Team Stunning Stars on that program as possible. So please, please, please consider making it to Protege, selling your $1,000 so that you can be a part of that program. I want to talk a little bit about conference. Conference is coming up. It's coming up in July, the 18th through the 20th. It's going to be in Boise, Idaho again. And we already have 4 people, not including myself, that have committed to conference. So I just want to go ahead and send those people a quick congratulations for really taking the next step in their business, committing themselves to being there and learning. So congratulations to Nicole Marson. We've got LaShanta Magnuson, Gabriella Sandwith, and Sam Millette. So we're going to have an awesome time. There is still plenty of time to register. It is $149. The registration will go up to $199 starting March 1st. This is a limited seating event. They're only allowing 300 participants. I'm not sure how many seats are left. I know that they're under 200 seats available now. So as people start to get their tax returns back, people will be registering. If this is something that you want to do, I highly recommend it. You will leave conference a different person. You're going to learn so much about yourself, about your business. It's fun to get together and meet other damsels from around the country to really find out what they're doing, what's working for them. You're just going to have, of course, freebies. Damsel does not skimp freebies, that's for sure. So it's definitely worth its weight in gold to attend conference. So from there, now what I want to do is talk to you guys about the meat and bones of what our meeting is about today, which is the 7-layer hostess cake. So back at Leadership, Beth Jones Shaw, she's a corporate trainer. Damsel had hired her to come to our leadership retreat and do a intense coaching session with us. And one of the things that she focused on was the 7-layer cake. So we talked about it like, imagine you have 2 cakes. You've got one that's like plain old vanilla. It like maybe has some frosting on it, but it's just like plain old. And then you've got like this awesome like layered cake with like chocolate and fudge and like strawberries or vanilla or whatever you like a whole bunch of cool stuff on there. Like what one would you choose if you weren't on a diet? So which one would you choose? Do you want plain old vanilla or do you want like the cake, right? You want the 7-layer cake. That's the one you want to go for. And this is really how we need to be treating our hostesses. Because if you think about it, the way that we do our hostess coaching essentially isn't helping the hostess at all, and it's certainly not helping you. If you're just bundling together all of these documents inside an envelope and you're mailing it off at the post office and then she gets it in the mail, she opens it and it's just like papers of this and that or the other thing, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that she doesn't necessarily understand, and you're not making contact with her until a week before the party, well, you're not doing yourself any justice because you're putting all this money into preparing something that she doesn't care about because you haven't prepared her well enough for it. So it's even kind of like building a house, your hostess packet that you're mailing right now is the foundation. Then all of a sudden you want to do a party and put the roof on it, but you haven't like put any layers or anything on there. So it doesn't work. The 7-layer hostess cake, you guys will see, is a series of steps that you do, and I provided a checklist. It's a series of steps that you do to really prepare your hostess for her party, and it also helps you as well, so that way you guys can have a really awesome show. So you don't need to take notes on this unless you want to. I'm going to make sure that I post everything onto the team page, so stay tuned. Make sure you're listening, and then watch the team page for all of the documents that I'm going to go ahead and post there, and then you guys can go ahead and edit them yourselves. So sit back and enjoy. So what I've done is I've created this checklist that I would like for you guys to be able to use and utilize so that you can go ahead and be marking off all of those tasks as you're doing them with your hostess coaching. So the first one I'm going to go ahead and go through with you is layer 1. So layer 1 is securing the date, and the hostess receives their first packet. Now this packet is essentially what goes inside your booking bag. And of course the booking bag is the bag that we talked about at the last meeting. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, be sure to go ahead and watch the video of the last meeting. You can go ahead and see that booking bag. So all of these documents that I'm going to go ahead and go over with you right now go inside this booking bag, and you bring these with you to your shows. So that way when someone books a party, they take the bag with them and they essentially have the layer 1 of the cake. So layer 1, securing the date, and the hostess receives her first packet. So this is your first contact with her, either in person at a party, or if you've met her at an event, or maybe she's even called you on the phone. This is what you're going to mail her. The first packet contains, and you can see here on the checklist, you go ahead and check as you do them. So number 1 is the cover letter. You are going to want to go ahead and make sure that your cover letter is introducing yourself. This is just a template. If you want to create your own cover letter, then feel free. You're going to want to include 1 catalog. You're going to want to include the hostess wish list, which is laid out right here for you. Just basically let them go through and decide what they would like for their hostess credits. This helps you because when she gets this back to you, then you kind of know, you have an idea of what she would like for her rewards, and you can go ahead and help coach her that way. If she has a big wish list, then you want to make sure that you're getting a decent amount of guests to the party for her so that she can get as many of those items for free or half price as she would like. You're going to want to include address labels. So what I do is I just go to the office supply store and I buy a pack of labels, and they're usually just the ones that can run through your printer, but they're economical, and I take a sheet of those. There's 30 of them on one sheet, and I fold that sheet in half. So I give that to the hostess, and what they do is they actually mail those addresses back to me. All they need to do is write them on the sticky and get those back to me in a prepaid envelope that I include for her. And then that way she doesn't have to worry about sitting there filling out invitations. You're going to want to make sure you do this because you're going to have a higher attendance at your party. This is the whole reason of the 7-layer cake, is to have the best party possible, being in contact with your hostess, and making sure that she gets as many guests there as possible. Now, you'll find that most hostesses are totally fine with you mailing out their invitations for them. It's something that they don't have to do. Women are busy, they've got family, they've got kids, they've got jobs, they've got all this other stuff going on, and who wants to sit there and fill out invitations? I know in the past I've hosted parties before, and I've never mailed out the invitations, and I've had some good attendance shows and I've had some not good attendance shows. I can tell you that from experience, by mailing out the invitations for people, you will have far more people at your parties if you mail them out for your hostess. So I would get myself into the habit of definitely doing that. If having a successful business with large parties is worth it to you, if this is what you want to do, then you definitely need to be mailing out your invitations for your hostesses. It's very important. So with the address labels, you want to include the prepaid return envelope. You want to include the Damsel guest list memory jogger. Now this is one that I just made up quickly on the computer here, but we also have one that corporate has made for us under sales tools in the back office. And then for your layer 1, you want to go ahead and make sure to Facebook friend your hostess as well. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of these layer 1 packets made and ready to go. Carry with them wherever you go. Obviously, you're going to have your booking bags at your shows, but have a couple of these packets ready to go. Stick them in your purse. So if you're out and about handing out your business cards and people are really interested in maybe hosting a show, you can talk them into it and go ahead and give them their hostess packet right there. You don't even have to worry about mailing it. It's actually cheaper to set up your hostess packets this way, even by. So now we're on to layer 2 in the hostess coaching 7-layer cake. Layer 2 consists of emailing your hostess a message letting her know how excited you are with a confirmation of her show date and time. So you are going to want to do this only once you've received back the wish list and the address labels in the prepaid envelope that you provided for her. You're going to want to try to collect the address labels back as soon as possible. And I would say if you haven't received them back within 4 business days, then you need to call her. This will basically help you to know how serious she is about her party. If she's avoiding you and she had agreed to mail the address labels back to you and she hasn't done that yet, then you may have a hostess that is non-committal, in which case you need to get down to the root of the problem of why she's having a hard time doing that so that you can assist her so that you can have a good show. So once that is done, on comes layer 3. Layer 3 happens 2 weeks before her show. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have mailed out her invites to her guests, and you're also going to mail one to her as well. So then that way you can tell her when you receive your invitation, you can be sure that your guests are receiving theirs, and then it's time for her to make sure she starts with follow-up calls to really get her guests excited about the party. You're going to want to, at this time, at layer 3, so 2 weeks before her show, after you've mailed out her invitations, you want to make sure you give her a phone call. So give her a phone call, letting her know that the invites have been set out. She should expect one herself. Just double checking with her, making sure you're following up. By then, you've already set up your Facebook event. That was back in layer 1, so you're helping her with that and making sure that she doesn't have any questions. And also, it's building that relationship as well, because that's what the 7-layer cake is all about. You know, we don't want to just send a hostess packet full of stuff in the mail and it hits their door with a thud, and then they pick it up. Part of the time, they don't even open it. They certainly don't mail out the invitations. You come for the party and you've got only 4 or 5 people there. You know, the whole goal of this is to really up the attendance so that we can have these really great shows. Okay, so now we're on to layer 4 in our 7-layer hostess cake. I just want to go ahead and correct myself. I had said that layer 1 you set up the Facebook event, but it's actually layer 4. Layer 1 is where you're Facebook friending your hostess. In layer 4, this happens 12 days before her show. So you've already mailed out the invitations. You have given her a phone call to follow up and let her know that the invites are out, that she should be expecting hers as well as her friends will be getting theirs. Layer 4, 12 days before her show, now you want to set up the Facebook event. So you want to set up the Facebook event if she has a Facebook. Do this, and then that way you can go ahead and make sure that all the information that needs to be on there is on there. You have created her as a hostess in your website, so you can make sure to be passing along instructions on how guests who cannot attend the party can go ahead and order. And now you're going to want to mail out your second hostess packet. So this one gets mailed out. The other one gets handed to her in a booking bag. Now what comes in your second mailing packet is 2 to 3 order forms. You're going to want to include 2 catalogs. You're going to want to include instructions on how to take an order, instructions on how people who cannot attend can order online, and then the tic-tac-toe game with boxes checked that she has completed. So this tic-tac-toe game is something that I like to use. It's something that keeps the hostess engaged. It's optional. But you are more than welcome to go ahead and use this tic-tac-toe game, or if you come up with your own game to keep your hostess happy and keep her engaged, then I would highly recommend doing that. Now, of course, we know that Damsel has their own set of hostess benefits, which are fantastic, but I also like to incent my hostess for doing things for me. So as you'll see here with the boxes, as she completes the tasks, we can go ahead and mark them off, and she can get extra product and things for going ahead and having a successful show. It helps keep her engaged, and it helps let you know where she is at as well. The hostesses are really excited about this, especially when they get a tic-tac-toe. If you decide to remake this board, I just want you guys to be careful not to make it too difficult. You want to make sure that at least one of the tic-tac-toes is pretty easy for them to get, so that they're not discouraged, because if you're asking too much of them, then they're not going to make it happen for you. So go ahead and use this or make up your own. I would like to hear if any of you guys have a different idea rather than the tic-tac-toe sheet. We can go ahead and post that on the team page to get everybody engaged and kind of use. So for layer 5 of the hostess 7-layer cake, now you've had quite a few times where you've actually talked to her on the phone, through email, texting, Facebook. So you should be pretty familiar with her by now. She should be feeling very comfortable with you. At this point, 9 days before her show, you're going to want to make sure that you email her the hostess hookups, and that is the table that is under sales tools section in your virtual office that will tell her what she can get for being a hostess. That's really important. And you just want to go ahead and confirm again that she had received the second hostess packet. So layer 6 is 6 days before the show. You're going to want to pick up the phone and call her. So you're going to want to call her and visit with her about her RSVPs and get her pumped up for her party. You're going to want to discuss her wish list and review what needs to be done to get there. So again, talking about if she has a larger wish list, if there's a bunch of things that she wants to get, really showing her how important it is to make sure that she has a great attendance at her party so that she can get as much of the stuff for free or half price as she would like. You're going to also want to make sure that through all of this, you're continuing to post on Facebook event to keep the guests engaged. You're going to want to make sure that you're there to answer questions if people post. You're going to want to post pictures of the products and really keep them engaged, especially as the countdown for the party happens. And then the final layer is layer 7, and this is 24 to 48 hours before her show. You're going to want to make sure that you call, text, or email the hostess to gain a final RSVPs for the show. So you're going to want to remind her that now's the time to actually pick up the phone. Facebook should be an accessory. She wants to make sure she is picking up the phone and actually calling the people that she invited and making sure that she has a head count for you so that you are able to prepare for the party and make sure that she's able to get what she needs as a hostess. If she does not have a lot of RSVPs, if people start to cancel on her, well, then it's really important that she gets a couple of orders, outside orders, at least $100 in outside orders before her party would be really great. And then that way she's walking in already earning some hostess benefits. And if she is having a hard time getting everything arranged, then you can go ahead and personally ask her if she would like for you to personally call her guest, just to say a reminder. Hey Sarah, this is Nikki calling. I'm your Damsel in Defense Independent Director. I'm super excited to meet you tomorrow at Anne's party. Can't wait to see you there. Something like that. So then that way you are taking that burden off of your hostess as well. And you're going to want to make sure that you're referencing the 7-layer hostess cake, the templates, everything that I've been posting, the paperwork that accompanies this checklist. I will be sure to post this on the team page with all of the documents so that you guys can go ahead and download them. You can edit them. You can put your name in there, make them as your own, use it as a guide to make your own 7-layer cake. And then, of course, after the show, at the bottom of this checklist, I put that you are going to be writing a thank you note to your hostess. You're going to want to make sure that you're doing your customer service calls 1 week after everybody has received their order, just to make sure that they've taken their things out of the package, they've put in batteries, they understand how it works. And then at the bottom here, it gives you, party total, number of orders that you had from the party, expense out of pocket for your hostess gifts, which is really important because this helps you track where you're spending your money and where you should be making cuts if you're spending too much. And then, of course, number of parties booked, name of new hostess, and the party date, so that this can help you really track how your progress is working with the 7-layer cake. So I hope you guys are really able to utilize this as something that has been really successful. And if you have any questions, be sure to go ahead and post on the team page. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by the hostess 7-layer cake and you're feeling like maybe that's a lot of responsibility, a lot of things to take care of, I want you all to understand that it will come easier with time. And the one thing that you can definitely do with this is prepare. So what I like to do is make sure that I print out all of these documents ahead of time. I've just got them, up in my office. Hostess checklist, cover letter, all this stuff, they're just there. So then that way I can go ahead and put the packets together as I need to, so that I'm not constantly stressing out about needing to print this, that, or the other thing. And the next thing I want to talk about is focus. So I know some of you are probably thinking that you're not really going to want to be mailing out invitations for your hostesses because, first of all, that's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you time. But I can assure you that a little bit of effort on your end is going to help out a lot, because basically what this comes down is to focus. And there's a whole bunch of different external sources, and there's things that are going to happen to you, and there's going to be things that happen in your business that are going to be out of your control. But essentially, focus can really either make or break our business, because what we focus on will expand. So if we're focusing on things that are out of our control, we're focusing on negativity, we're focusing on something maybe that's going on the home office corporate level, we're focusing on our team members, we're focusing on whatever, it can expand. And if you're focusing on the negativity and it expands too much, then it basically consumes you and you're done. You decide that you're done with your business because you just can't handle that. So what I've done here is, obviously I'm not an artist. I should have had Brian do this because he's a lot better at making circles than I am. But what I wanted to do for you guys was make a bullseye and talk a little bit about focus. So, we're in the middle ourselves, we're the red, and then we've got all these rings of things that are out of our control, like every day just swirling around us. And some of the things on here are other people's attitudes, your team that doesn't participate, your state's laws, you've got bad weather that might mess up a party, you've got shipping that is out of your control, you have maybe some product delays, like for instance the Get a Grip. I know some people are irritated about that. You have people that you spend your time with, like prospective recruits or new recruits that you signed on and you spend a lot of time with them and they're just not interested in Damsel. You've got company policies and procedures that you may not agree with. So you've got all of these things on this external away from you that are out of your control. But these are the things that honestly people, they just eat themselves up over. And all it can take is one of these things, like say your team that doesn't participate. Let's say that you sign on someone and you've got a couple people on your team now and they're just not working. They're just not working to their potential. You're working with them. They're not doing anything. They're just kind of sitting there. They're like taking up space. They're taking up your space in your mind because you're constantly worrying about them. You can only do so much, but if they're not willing to participate, then you have to kind of cut them loose. You've got all of these things, but all of these things, if you let them, can consume you to the point where you don't even want to work your business anymore. You say, forget it. I'm done. I'm totally out. I have this team. I've worked with them. They're not doing anything, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we've all heard it. We've all gone through it. I mean, myself included. There's been things that have happened that are out of my control in the business, and I don't get myself to the point where I want to quit because I have a strong enough goal and a strong enough focus, but definitely makes me have a bad day or a bad week. And, we can't let that happen because we have to make sure that we're focusing. So all of these rings are things that we can't control, but everything in the center is us. These are things that we can control. So for instance, your attitude, how you help your recruits is a huge one. If you're all upset that your team doesn't participate, but you're not helping your recruits, you're depending on people above you to do the work for you, well, then that's your own fault, really. How you set your goals is something that you can have control over. Whether you have a clear vision of where you want to be in your business. Do you have a positive attitude? Do you let things like the Get a Grip being out of stock for a couple of weeks because the manufacturer had a problem? Do you let that get you to the point where you're so upset in your business that you don't want to carry forward? Do you call up rather than going on a public forum or the team Facebook page? Do you call up when you have a problem, or do you sit there and whine and complain and do a lot of venting that doesn't really do anybody good? So these are the things that are in our control. So if you think about it, for every single thing that's out of our control on the outside, like other people's attitudes, if somebody that you're working with has just a real crap attitude, or even a hostess just doesn't have a really good attitude, if you're strong in your focus, then your attitude can override their attitude, because you can't control the way that they feel and the way that they're acting, but you can certainly control the way that you act and the way that you feel. So the whole goal of this is to really make this outside circle, this inside circle, become the outside circle. So it kind of becomes like a big whirlwind tunnel of positivity. And that's what your focus should be. You should cross out all of the stuff that happens on a day-to-day basis. And it's really difficult, but I'm telling you, it's essential that you always have a razor sharp focus going on in your business, because if you don't, you'll never make it. So in instances where you may be feeling down in the dumps, before you pull to one of those external sources, like, venting on the team page, really come back to your focus and say, okay, the shipping obviously is now, it's delayed, especially at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, when there's a high flow of orders coming in. It may take a little longer to get our products. Is this honestly something that will make and break my business? For me, is that a bad enough of a problem where I can't run my business? And if it's yes, then sayonara. What are you doing here? You've got to kind of look at it like that, because I'm telling you, if you don't start seeing things like that, then the things that are out of your control can literally eat you alive. It's always about having positive, razor sharp focus, because as a baby company like Damsel is, I know I've said it so many times before, as a baby company, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be things that happen that are out of your control. There's going to be things that you don't like. There's been things that have happened that I don't like, and it's like, whatever, build a bridge. You got to build a bridge and get over it, because if you have a big goal at the end for yourself and for your business, and if you want Damsel to work for you and your family and all of that, then you can't get clouded up and you can't get consumed by those external sources. So what I want to leave with you guys, you guys with today is a quote, and it kind of goes back on focus again, but it's also about teamwork, because the great thing about this business is that when people sign on to the business, and when we're in the business, the great thing about it is that we all get to be independent entrepreneurs, but we also get to work together as a team. So we get the best of both worlds. A lot of times people work in an organization because they love going to work and they love being with their coworkers and they love being part of a team. They like being part of something that is a collaborative effort. But this team with Damsel is the same thing. So I know I've said it before, you guys obviously have awesome teamwork and you guys are very positive. I really appreciate that. But in order for us all to be successful as a whole, we need to be successful individually. So, sticking with those goals that we've set for ourselves, making sure that we're participating in company phone calls and in team phone calls and things like that is really going to make our Team Stunning Stars, a huge force to be reckoned with in this business. And, as our team grows, more and more people are going to be successful. They're going to be successful to the point where they're making really good money with this business, but also feeling fulfilled in themselves, that they're able to get out there and spread the mission and have people that join them and fall into those leadership roles that, is so very important for life, really, to make us feel good about ourselves. I'd like to have the focus where our team is each one does one. Each person, meaning each person on the team does one party. You may be surprised to know that we are only working to about 30% potential. So there's like over 50 people on this team, and at any given month, there's only about 30 of us that are actually working and putting in orders. When I sat back and looked at those numbers, I was a little, not disappointed, but I was a little surprised by that, because as we sign on, we're independent business owners, so why would we join with something that we're not planning on doing anything with? If we can get to that point where each one does one, each person does one party a month, I think that would really help grow us as a team, as a whole, as an organization. So what I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with is a quote by a man named Phil Jackson. I found it online this morning. I thought it was pretty cool. It says, "The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team." So the strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team. So I hope you guys were able to take away something from today's webinar meeting. I really appreciate you guys, all your effort, all your focus, all your positivity. Let's keep stunning stars. Let's keep our team growing and rocking it out. And I hope you guys all have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.